I'll fit wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like what's the animal?
A chameleon. Hi, my name is Caley and I'm adopted from Da Nang, Vietnam. I grew up in Northeast Portland. My parents are white. I grew up in a predominantly white area, so there were 3 Asian Americans in my grade from like elementary to probably middle school, and there was only 1 or 2 African Americans in there, so pretty white. I can't remember a specific time, but I always knew that it was something different because it was something that my family talked about a lot. I think I was always aware of that, and I never really internalized it or noticed it as like a kid. No one can really pinpoint exactly what my ethnicity is, and so I feel like I don't get a lot of questions because of that. And I definitely had the, oh, not Asian enough for this, not white enough for this, but I never got bullied or teased because of it. But I know that that's a common experience. If that would have been different, I would have been more aware of like race when I was younger. Stereotypes play into this idea of race and how society kind of perpetuates it, and I feel like a lot of adoptees or just a lot of people in general use stereotypes as a way to kind of deflect things. Oh, like, sorry if I like hit your car, I'm a bad like Asian female driver, like things like that. But then also by doing that, we're perpetuating those stereotypes, which isn't fair to future generations because not everyone fits under those umbrellas. I think that's one of the things too, is that because we're not all the way in or all the way out, being able to make jokes about it feels less painful because you don't have to identify with it, and it's kind of like a self-source of alienating. As I was graduating high school, I was thinking about like, are people just thinking that all of my successes are simply because of my race, and am I being discounted for all my hard work because of my race? And I think that that's something that as I'm entering like the professional work field and submitting resumes and things like that, that I'm definitely becoming more aware of and about how other people might perceive me and how these stereotypes might follow me in more of a like business scenario. I would identify as Asian because I'm really proud of my culture and I'm proud to be something different, but at the same time, I don't think that I could go back to Vietnam and call myself like 100% Vietnamese because I wasn't raised in the culture, and I think that that's something that's difficult to live with, but at the same time, not everyone is one thing in every single place. People are different in regards to where they're living or who they're around, whether that's their parents or their family, and so I don't think that you have to be just one thing. Because as an adoptee, you don't really fit in one space or the other, and a lot of people, there's a lot of different connotations between like racial identity and ethnic identity and national identity, and I think honestly all of those are different, and I think finding the differences between them is extremely nuanced. When I was on a parent panel in Wisconsin and the mom was talking about her Ethiopian son and growing up as like an African American man and how she's never gonna have the same experience as him. Like, your parents don't know. It's something that it's hard to imagine for them as well. So being able to educate yourself about your racial identity, but also being able to educate the people around you is also really important as well. Being an adoptee, you just have to learn to be okay with being in the gray space, and that's really hard to do, whether it's culture or identity or race or any of those combined, or just it's a lot of just coping with things that haven't been forced to be explained before. It's okay not to have answers. It's okay to be curious and to explore those. And if that's something that you're interested in, if your culture is something you're interested in exploring but you don't know where to start, having a conversation with your parents is awesome because, again, they can help give you the resources, but it also takes them on that journey too, to have them kind of get an inside perspective of what you might be feeling because they have no idea. Tell yourself to take off some of the pressure because you don't have to have an answer right away, and even when you do have an answer, that answer could change. So yeah. Actually, I've turned it into a game kind of, because I can tell that like people are like want to ask like where are you from, like what's your ethnicity, but they don't really know how to bring it up in a positive way. So sometimes like when we go places, like we'll like make a tally, like, oh yeah, like that person was like, oh, Native American, oh, that's another like Filipino.